like discussed over college for some subjects. So Scrum actually is an agile project methodology. So it's a lightweight framework that helps people, teams, and organizations generate value through adaptive solutions for complex problems. So it's a very known framework, and a lot of software development teams all over the world actually use this. So it's popular since it's known to produce productivity among the team with frequent iterations and continuous feedback. So it helps make sure that the delivered end product suits the end user's needs. So rather than providing the Scrum team with detailed instructions, the rules of Scrum guide their relationships and interactions. So in Scrum, walang strict guidelines on how we conduct our development process, our meetings. It's more of a set of guidelines and practices that help us develop features efficiently. So in the next slides, I'll also be sharing a preview of our Scrum team composition and the events that we have. But before we proceed to that, I'd like to explain two important items that we need in Scrum. So first is what we call the sprint. So a sprint is actually a major event that we have in Scrum. So this is the time wherein our team is busy building a set of features. In the next slides, I'll be showing how we do the process of our sprint. So yun, sprint is a short time box period when a Scrum team works to complete a set amount of work. So what exactly are inside sprints? So for that, we have what we call the user stories. So user stories are short, simple descriptions of a feature told from perspective of the person who desires the new capability, usually a user or the customer of the system. So they typically follow a simple template. As the type of user, I want some goal, so that's some reason. So we specify a type of user, what they want to happen, but what the feature is, and what's the main reason behind the need of that. So it helps us actually capture a description of a software feature from our end user's perspective. So our sprint consists of user stories that we have defined. So yun yung ginagawa namin in the sprint. So here is actually an example of a user story. So as you can notice, it follows the template earlier. So as a merchant, so in this case, the user that we're thinking of is the merchant. So I want to see a reminder so that I can avoid auto cancellation. So we have the user, the goal, and the reason behind it, all in one sentence. Then we have a description para we know what, kumbaga, the additional details are also present in the user story para mas maintindihan natin ng maayos. So for the user story, we actually have a set of user stories in the sprint. So for this one, each user story has points that determine the complexity of the task. So this helps us in preparing of like having an estimate of our sprint duration or timeline. So our sprints are usually 2 to 3 weeks long. So depending on, of course, on the complexity of what we're trying to build. So yeah. So as you can see in this small table, we have parang last column na total points, which is the sum of all the points that we have defined for each user story. So ito yung magiging basis namin for the estimate on how long the sprint timeline will be. So after a sprint ends, we start another sprint to develop another set of user stories. So we repeat the process from planning, execution, and review. And this helps us be focused on what are the tasks that we have to accomplish within that certain period. So yeah. So here are the points and the total. So let's discuss now more about the Scrum team. So here is the team composition. So we have actually what we call the product owner. So the product owner is typically a project's key stakeholder. So part of the product owner's responsibilities is to have a vision of what he or she wishes to build, and they convey that vision to the Scrum team. So in our case, this is a key person from various departments such as operations, marketing, sales, since they determine what features are needed to be developed. Next is the Scrum Master. So for the Scrum Master, he or she ensures that the Scrum framework is being followed. So in my case, I have experience in project management, and I act as the Scrum Master since we just recently started adapting the Scrum framework. So the next one in the team composition, we have the developers. So this is a group of mobile developers, cloud developers, designers, and testers. So yeah, basically that's the team composition that we have. So let's discuss next the events of Scrum. So the first event, we have the backlog grooming. So backlog grooming, in this session, we discuss our backlog items together to define each feature and user story. So we also review all backlogs and prioritize them accordingly. So during the backlog grooming, the Scrum team defines the user stories to discuss how we want to implement the features. So this is more of a brainstorming session with the team, and we encourage talaga everyone to speak up if they have a recommendation or anything to share to the said feature that we are discussing. So in this session, we just discuss features and we align with everyone para maka-agree kami on the final implementation. So after, let's say, we have already done the backlog grooming, we'll then proceed with the sprint planning. So in the sprint planning session, we identify the user stories that are ready to include in the sprint. So let's say yung user stories na tapos na sa backlog grooming session, let's say they have been finalized. So it means that they are now ready to be included in a sprint. So we decide on that. So parang we select user stories na isasama namin sa sprint. So as mentioned earlier, each user story also has points which defines the complexity of how long it will take para magka-idea lang kami kung kano katagal yung task sa developer. So after selecting the user stories, we also define the tasks that we need to do under each user story para align lahat kung ano yung mga gagawin ng each person. So after the sprint has started, let's say the estimate of the timeline was 2 weeks. So 2 weeks. So for every working day, dun sa 2 weeks na yun, we have what we call the daily stand-up. So during the sprint, our team gathers daily for 15 minutes to share the following. So what did I do yesterday? What is the plan for today? And are there any blockers? So this meeting actually allows our team to discuss the current state of our sprint. So we all get an idea kung ano yung ginagawa ng isa't isa. So we use this as an opportunity to inspect if we are moving towards the goal or if we are still scheduled. So I also make this as parang an opportunity for the team to ask kung may mga hindi sa kanila clear, like kung meron din sila na-realize na baka mas maganda yung ganito na lang ang implementation natin. We forgot to discuss what happens in this scenario. So in this way, we can quickly adapt if we can make any like final changes naman na related doon. So after the daily stand-up, let's say the next event is sprint review naman. So let's say yung sprint natin, it has come to an end, meaning the sprint is done, and what we will do next is the entire team will gather to review each user story that was included in the sprint. Then we see if it fits the acceptance criteria that we defined. So dito more on para siyang demo wherein we show to the team what we have done. Then yung user stories naman na na-define namin, we check them one by one if it really fits the acceptance criteria. So the team also shares what has been accomplished and what is not yet finished. So yeah, we share what has been accomplished through a quick demo then with the team. Then last but not the least, we have the sprint retrospective. So before we officially end the sprint, we have this session to discuss the following. So what did we do good in the sprint? What did we do bad in the sprint? And how do we improve? Are there any ideas to share? So basically in this session, yung as example ko earlier, for those 2 weeks, ano yung mga good habits na nagawa ng team. So, examples for this is, was everyone on time for the meeting? We like that the agendas for the meeting was clear. Parang ganun. So, yung mga events na nangyari during the sprint that were good, we point them out and we share them with the entire team para maintindihan din namin so kung ano yung preference ng other team members. Next naman, we discuss what we did bad in the sprint. So dito ang common sa amin is may mga hindi nakaka-attend ng meeting tapos hindi nakaka-inform. So yun, we have to maintain clear communication to reschedule para if we know if someone will not be present, we can reschedule the meeting, mga ganun na examples. And we also discuss how do we improve and parang any ideas to share with the team. So the purpose of the sprint is to plan ways to increase quality and effectiveness. So basically, this is the 5 events that we have. So it's very necessary na lahat ito na events or meetings magawa namin during the sprint kasi we might miss out something if we forget to do one. So yeah. So next naman yan, I'll be showing parang a quick diagram of the whole flow. So here is also the sequence of events in a simplified lang parang chart. So bago magsimula ang lahat, of course, we have to start refining our backlog or features. So yun sabi ko earlier, parang nag-define kami ng features, we finalize how the discussion on how we implement the user story. Then after that, once the backlog items are ready, we can now start planning our sprint. So we will be adding our tasks together in this session, then to see what we have to do in the sprint. So after that is done, we'll be proceeding now to start the sprint. So once the sprint has started, daily nagmi-meet kami for our stand-up meeting. So same time every day to discuss what each developer is currently doing, just to update the entire team. So once the sprint also has ended, we have what we call the sprint review. So as mentioned earlier, yung quick demo portion, discuss the finished items. If during the session, there are also times na parang may realizations kami na based on what we did, parang mas maganda na magdagdag tayo ng ganitong user story or feature. So it probably can be added to the backlog grooming in the next session. So yan, it's not required naman, but it's optional if it applies. Oops, sorry na wala yung ulitin ko na. And sprint review. Then the last but not the least is the sprint retrospective. So we discuss what we want to improve in the next sprint. So after that, we can now actually start another sprint. So yun basically yung parang cycle of how we do the sprint. So yun yung sequence of events. So yeah. Basically, that's the overview of how we do Scrum. So next naman, I'll be showing parang examples of our meetings. So yeah. So since it's the pandemic, our team has been working remotely. But with this, we conduct our Scrum events online. So each Scrum member is required to be online to attend a meeting. So of course, we cannot avoid unforeseen scenarios like power interruptions or if may problem yung ISPs natin. However, each Scrum member still tries to attend the meetings that they can. So we try to make it work as much as possible. So video call has actually been a part of our daily lives already. So we meet daily before we start our day. This usually ranges from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Kasi it's been habit na of ours to really talk before we do our task for the day. And it keeps everyone aligned talaga based on our experience. So although we are working remotely, the entire Scrum team still meets on general assemblies or face-to-face meetings if necessary. So switching from work from home setup was definitely a challenge, but we eventually got the hang of it. So the Scrum events were also made our agendas for our online meetings very clear. So it was really helpful. So yeah, actually also share din alert level 1 na si Naga City. So eventually all the devs will be returning na to the office. So something to look forward for us para mas efficient na yung meetings namin since face to face. So that basically sums up my experience in working as a female project manager in a tech company. So before we end, I'd like to share a quote lang. So there's no limit to what we as women can accomplish. So every woman's success should be an inspiration to another. So we're strongest when we cheer each other on. So I hope that I have shared something valuable to the participants, and I also hope that this encourages aspiring female students to join us in the software development industry. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Miss Adi. So there are questions here. One of the question is it okay to have multiple roles for project managers implementing Scrum framework? What is the advantage or disadvantage of this setup? Yeah.
Okay pa. So I think for Scrum, it's very strict na yung roles natin. Yung product owner, Scrum Master, and the developers, we stick to those roles talaga. Kasi naka-specify na yung role niya. So that's the answer to the first question. Ano yung continuation for the other?
What is it okay to have multiple roles? Then the next question is, what is the advantage or disadvantage of this? You said a while ago that multiple roles is not encouraged, right?
Yes, for Scrum.
And so his next question is, what's the advantage or disadvantage of that?
So to add din to my answer earlier, hindi talaga encourage na may multiple roles, but of course, if the Scrum team is tiny naman, hindi naman maiwasan na baka magiging product owner ka din minsan. So it depends actually on the resources that you have with the team. Tapos disadvantages lang, advantages of Scrum is, let's move forward first sa advantages. Advantages, as mentioned earlier, parang may set of guidelines na share with the Scrum team para efficient yung pag-develop natin. For disadvantages naman, yun probably may limitations lang on the scope of your role. So probably for others, it may cause parang limitation din kung paano ka gagawa ng mga task mo. So yun lang. So, ang naisip ko lang na possible na pwede mag-overlap for the roles is the product owner and the Scrum Master.
All right. So the next question here is, does project managers have sustainable salary among IT companies in the country? In your experience, does the project managers have sustainable salary among IT companies in the Philippines?
Yes,
kasi the country.
Based on my research naman, the project manager role has good paying offers naman. Kasi you're also responsible for many things. So there's also parang a bit of pressure on you kasi you have to make sure that everything talaga is going well. So I think since it's a managerial position, it's compensated very well in software industries, especially dun sa mga big companies in Metro Manila. I like that.
Yeah.
Especially abroad.
Yeah. Another question is, what strength do you have when you started as project manager? What skills or the strength you have with you when you started as project manager?
So I guess the first skill that I think I had that really helped me when I was starting out was probably my organization skills, parang yung pagiging organized ko in many things. And aside from that, parang yung communication skills din is very important. Kasi as the project manager, you have to make sure that everything is clear among the team. Then yun. So probably being organized and having the ability to communicate well with others.
Yeah. And the last question that I have here is, what is your advice to those who want to become project managers?
for advice to those who want to become future project managers, siguro it's to explore other like new trends in project management kasi there are actually a lot. So ako kasi when I started at project management, I just for parang a short period, I just stick to what I learned in college tapos yung mga current learnings na nakikita-kita lang. Hindi ako nagsa-self-study. So when I realized na all my colleagues or my coworkers were constantly studying, so I also parang adopted that habit. Kasi it really helped me be aware din of parang what's in with in software development and pati yung mga programming stuff I also read para makarelate din ako with the developers so that I understand talaga everything that each member of my team is doing. So yun po, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much, Miss Ali. Seeing no other questions on the screen and on my yeah, let's now move up. Yeah, may I request all the panelists to please open your camera as we move to the next portion or the last portion of our forum. Yeah, thank you. So let's now move to the last portion. So we present now our certificate of appreciation to our panelists, Miss Joanne, Miss Ali, Miss Senya, and Miss Audrey. So let me read the citation. Department of Information and Communications Technology presents the certificate of appreciation to Miss Joanne Nasamana, Miss Aliana Beatriz Lee, Miss Senia Bracero, Miss Audrey Ann Escobal for sharing their invaluable insight and expertise as panelists during the online forum dubbed as Hello World Bicolana Software Development Forum, organized by the Department of Information and Communications Technology, Camarines Norte, Region 5, held on March 29, 2022, 9 a.m. to 12 noon via Zoom platform, signed by Engineer Carmela P. Valencia, OIC Regional Director. So, thank you so much. Yeah. To our panelists, we thank you. We admire you for representing well the women in software development industry. With you, we say, hello world, Bicolana plays a significant role in ICT development, not just in Bicol region, but in the global scene as well. The DICT Region 5 salutes you. And yeah, so let's have a photo op. So before we go, yeah, thank you so much. Before we go, may I ask you to support the Philippine entries to the World Summit on Information Society Prizes by voting online until March 31, 2022. The project titles, which is our entry to the WSIS prizes, are free Wi-Fi for all in geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas in Western Mindanao, providing access to development and digital literacy education, clashing against waves for digital literacy. Another project is on ICT movement beyond bars. That's ICT movement beyond being apprehended and exclusive from the society. And the last project is delivering e-government services through Zamboanga City GovNet. For you to be able to vote, you just have to go to https bit.ly /WSIS 2022 vote. You can see it on the screen, the ways on how you're going to vote. Please support our entries to the WSIS. So with that, thank you so much everyone for joining. Thank you so much to our panelists. Thank you.
Thank you po, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for joining us. Yeah, for our participants, please answer the evaluation sheets posted on the chat box. See you again next time. Thank you. God bless.